Hello, everyone. Welcome to 49ers After Dark. We're your hosts, Cohn and Jessie Naylor. The title of this show is Are the 49ers secretly preparing Trey Lance to start? Kyle Shanahan made some cryptic comments today. He's been making cryptic comments all year. You could call them contradictory comments. Maybe I would. I don't know. We're going to get to that. But first, we're going to talk about his dad, Mike Shanahan, who is, I think, quite informative when you're trying to get inside the head of Kyle. Anyway, Jesse, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. There's a lot going on in 49er land. Tough loss, right? Like this Wednesday show is always a weird spot, right? Because we're in just a few days. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you want to talk about last week, but everybody already kind of has. So,
right.
But there's a lot going on. And I'm excited to get down to it tonight.
Well, you found some interesting things about Mike Shanahan that may reflect on his son. I have to say that it seems like Kyle and his dad are as close as me and my dad are. I'm extremely close with my dad. And while we have different views on certain things, if he has a strong opinion on something, I'm listening. And I'm not necessarily going to see it the same way, but I'm definitely going to hear him out because I respect him and he's my dad. And we do often have the same opinion. I have a feeling that Kyle and his dad are that way. Jim Harbaugh and his dad are that way. I feel like people who have strong relationships with their dads can see it in other people. And I see it in them. So anyway, tell us what you unearthed about Mike.
Yeah. So two things. One, I was listening to a Wickersham interview. He was on some podcast, and basically he was talking about the whole Spygate situation with the Patriots. And at that time, Goodell was reaching out to all the other coaches in the league, trying to get their opinion on things. And every coach to a T was basically saying, throw the book at this man. What a cheat. This is a joke. This is the worst thing we've ever seen in the league. He calls Mike Shanahan, and Shanahan goes, I'm just pissed I didn't figure it out earlier. Like, if I would have known that was a thing, I would have been doing that. Right? So I'm going, okay, well, this guy, as far as a competitive nature goes, is very similar to Bill Belichick, right?
And who does he admire? Bill Belichick.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So this was Mike Shanahan talking about, the whole situation. So then
Mike admires him as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mike looked at Bill Belichick as an equal. Because remember, Mike was the king of the world as a head coach in 1997, 1998. There was no one above him. Mike Holmgren, no. I mean, it was Mike Shanahan. And then who took his place? Bill Belichick in 2000, 2001. So I think Mike would look at him as a peer, as an equal.
Yeah, of course he would. He definitely respects him, right? So that's one, right? And then, and I think it was somebody from Niners Nation. So I would love to give credit. I forget who it was, but I think it came from Niners Nation. Somebody dug up an old Jake Plummer interview.
I think it was Kyle Posey.
Was it Posey? Okay. Yeah. KP. I think you're right. Yeah. Okay. So credit to him. He digs up a old interview of Jake Plummer talking about Mike Shanahan, and he's talking about how it didn't matter what he did. It was never enough for Shanahan. He would feel like he played really well, and Shanahan would want 4 or 5 more throws from him. Mike Shanahan would. And he talked about how
4 plays he didn't do right.
Right. Yeah. So
65. What about the other, 35, 40 plays that I did do well?
Right. Exactly. So he just talked about how it was never enough, no matter what everybody else thought. That was the vibe that he got from him. And he said, not only did it wear thin on him, but it wore thin on other players. So then let's parlay that into Kyle Shanahan, who, by the way, Wickersham, going back to him, had that report during the offseason about Jimmy Garoppolo's people feeling like he's mishandled Jimmy and been kind of a jerk about it. Right. And so this is on brand with Kyle. Kyle is the same type of leader as his dad. And it's just not a good thing.
No. It's funny. The Raiders hired Mike Shanahan in 1987, I want to say, and I think they fired him in a year and a half. And Al Davis couldn't stand Mike Shanahan. There were things about him he couldn't stand. One of the things was that like Al Davis was spending a lot of money on starters for the, like, you
Yeah.
know, stars. And Mike Shanahan was like substituting 3 or 4 players every play, bringing on back. It's like, what am I doing paying for this? What am I doing? Al Davis couldn't freaking stand him. And I think Mike Shanahan he's very much into his system, proving that his system is more important than the players, that his system is king. And I think Kyle's the same way. And that's a problem because it's not. Football, the NFL is much more about what they say, like the Jimmies and the Joes and the X's and the O's. It's true. And if you're one of these offensive guys with the type of ego who's like, I'm going to prove that I can win with lesser talent on offense. Like, honestly, that was Chip Kelly. He tried to do stuff like that. That's when you really get yourself into trouble. And I think Mike was that way. Kyle's that way. The difference between them is that Mike was blessed to work with John Elway and Steve Young, and Kyle's been more of a, mercenary guy who works with backups.
The other thing that I really took from it when Wickersham was talking about that whole scenario is how much of a role Robert Kraft really plays in kind of covering for Belichick. He basically said that Belichick is the biggest a-hole on the face of the earth, right? He called him that essentially. And I'm talking about Robert Kraft called Belichick that. But he's a servant leader, right? And servant leadership is about getting the best from your people, putting their needs above yours in order to get the best out of them. That's what Kraft does. And so he's kind of that blanket because he's above Belichick, right? There's not really anybody above Shanahan. Like, yes, Jed York is the owner, but he's not any different, really. I mean, he's not a great owner by any means. It's not like people are running to him going, well, listen, like Kyle's kind of an a-hole. Nobody's doing that. I would guarantee it. So there's that buffer in New England, and that's why it's worked all of these years with Belichick. And also Belichick holds everybody accountable the same way, including himself. Shanahan doesn't do that. And I think those are the two differences between a Belichick and a Shanahan. And, Mike also won Super Bowls, so he may have been a lot like Kyle, but he was winning, so it really didn't matter.
All right, let's get to the news of the day. Yesterday, this bombshell drops that Seth Wickersham, in his newest book, reports that he was very particular with the way he phrased it, that the Patriots reached out to gauge trade value of Jimmy Garoppolo, and the 49ers were insisting on a first-round pick, which has been reported all throughout the year that they're insisting on a first. And what the news was is that the Patriots apparently were willing to give up a second for Jimmy, and it didn't happen. Now, I asked Kyle Shanahan today, did you turn down an offer for a second? And he said no. If that were to happen, I would have talked to Bill Belichick, and I didn't. So, I know how I interpret it. It seems to me what he's saying is it wasn't a real offer. It didn't get to that point. If it got to the final level, it would be a conversation between me and Bill Belichick. But that's not what Seth Wickersham said. He said someone on the Patriots called to gauge interest, and someone on the 49ers said what the going price was. So I don't think either side is lying. The relevant news to me is that the Patriots would have given up a second, and the Niners were really holding out for a first. Is that how you read it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, gauging interest. Was a formal offer ever made? No. Would a formal offer have come from it? Yeah, I think it would have. If they said that they were willing to take a second round pick, Patriots would have been like, hey, well, we're willing to give a second round pick. So That's the frustrating part. When this whole thing came down last night, I tweeted it out and I said, fire both these fools right now. Get rid of Shanahan, get rid of Lynch. I'm tired of them being incompetent. This is the last straw for me. If that report is true, and I have a big reason to feel that it is, I think both those guys should be gone. I'm so tired of this regime. No more passes for these guys. None. They don't deserve it. They've been incompetent over and over and over, and people have explained it away repeatedly. I'm done with it. There's no way that these guys should keep their job if that is the case. Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round pick, you take that bag and you run.
Right. Like they're trying to parse semantics here. Like, was it an offer? Was it an offer? Was it just a conversation? It doesn't matter. We know from multiple sources that the 49ers were holding out for a first-round pick. That's all they were going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo for. It seems now that it's been reported that New England would have offered a second-round pick. And we know that there was a conversation. Maybe it didn't get to the highest level, but it didn't materialize the trade. So it seems to me that we also know that Jimmy Garoppolo has played 5 games this year.
Yeah.
Won 2 of them, lost 3 in a row, gotten hurt once, and lowered whatever trade value apparently he was worth a second-round pick. I'm freaking shocked. I never would have thought that. But apparently he was worth a second-round pick to the Patriots. Now they're out of the quarterback market, and Jimmy Garoppolo's lost 3 games in a row. So whatever they could have gotten for him in April or May, they can't get for him now. And that's the ultimate irony. That's what we've learned.
Right. Absolutely. And a lot of people think that the plan was to prop up Jimmy's trade value. That's why he was playing. That's a bad decision. The fact that you're drafting a quarterback because A, you don't think he's worth a damn long-term, and B, you know he can't stay healthy. What did you expect to happen this year? He'd have an epiphany and be an amazing quarterback? No, you knew that wouldn't happen.
No, it's almost like Kyle's like, look, I don't like Jimmy, but I'm so good that I can prop him up for another year and we can trade him for a first-round pick like we've always wanted to and get some of that draft capital back that we got for Trey Lance, and it'll all work out. It'll be like we didn't trade that much for Trey Lance, and we'll go to the playoffs this year with Jimmy. We'll go to the playoffs next year with Trey Lance, and I'll just be a genius. I'll just keep being a genius. But it's not working out that way. You're not going anywhere with Jimmy Garoppolo. Every day that you trot him out on the field, his trade value goes down. And you're in like one of these situations where, I mean, how far are you going to let your stock plummet before you just sell? Because do you really think the stock's going to go up at this point? Why? What happens if you lose to Chicago? Where's the stock going to be after that? And honestly, if he beats Chicago, it doesn't even really go up that. It just kind of like, stays where it's at for a week. But if he loses to Chicago, then it's even worse. I don't even know if he's worth anything at this point. Like, his contract is so bad that you might have to, like, the Niners might have to pay a team to take it. So I understand what Shanahan's saying. He's parsing words. There wasn't an offer. I didn't talk to Belichick. It didn't get that far, whatever. You held out for a 1. It was a 2. Now it's a 5, maybe a 6. It's going to be a 9 or an 11 eventually. And that's on you. That's what we know.
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the offseason there's no way he's worth anything close to that. And the fact that one team...
When he said that, like, it was reported, they're holding out for 1. We all laughed like, yeah, that's you driving a hard bargain. If you got a 2, you would take it. They got the 2.
No,
and
they
were
didn't.
Like, nah. I keep comparing it to Seinfeld. I don't know if you watched Seinfeld, but they had the show about nothing. They pitched at the NBC. They were interested, and they held out for Ted Danson money. The Niners held out for that Ted Danson money for Jimmy Garoppolo, and now they're going to have to get nothing and like it. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right, because he's worth nothing at this point. His whatever value is there, and it was only the Patriots, by the way, because they have a love for Jimmy, right? Like it's a little bit more than just a quarterback to them. He meant something to that team, and Belichick, quite frankly, got some good play out of him. And listen, he has an ego. We just talked about it. He's probably looking at it going, "You guys screwed up, Jimmy. If I get Jimmy over here, he's going to look good again, and you're going to look stupid."
Right. Jimmy and Mac Jones are so similar anyway. It's true.
Right.
All right. Next topic. Would a healthy Trey Lance have started against the Colts? Explain what Kyle Shanahan said today that makes you think this is a possibility.
Well, he basically talked about how well Trey was looking after the Arizona game.
Yep.
He had the injury. Jimmy also was hurt, and he felt like Trey was on the up and up and that he deserved playing time. Now, people are taking that as would he have started, and maybe that's a possibility. I don't think that would have happened, though, Grant. I mean, when I hear more playing time, I personally look at it and go, yeah, okay, so he would have gotten a couple series, because before the Seattle game and before the Arizona game, he was getting nothing. Like, he had the one or 2 plays against Green Bay. That was basically it. The game before, he had gotten nothing. I think, to me, I took that as, no, he would not have been the starter versus the Colts. However, he would have gotten a few series is the way that I saw that playing out based off of what he said. What do you think, or what did you take from that?
Let me tell you what I take. I watched practice today. I was there. It was so like an hour before practice, Kyle Shanahan's like, the injury of Trey's worse than I thought. It just was worse. It's taking a little bit. And Trey gets out there as soon as he starts his drills. He's going harder than I've ever seen him go. And it seemed to me like he was trying to make a statement like, guys, look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at how healthy I am. Look at how freaking healthy I am. Look, I hate to get into conspiracy theories here, but just watching him today, he looks as healthy as can be. And they said they didn't know what play had happened in the game, and he didn't know. It just seems to me that they acknowledged that Jimmy was, not 100% healthy. He said he felt stuff in his calf in this game. It seemed to me like both guys had a little something, and the Niners shut down Trey and told Jimmy, you got to play. I just feel like what happened was the Niners kind of used Trey Lance's injury as an excuse to not – Kyle used the injury as a means to not make a decision. I mean, it's been pretty freaking clear that he's terrified of making a decision here. He doesn't want to do it because he's wrong all the time. And this is a pretty big decision. So he said, I just feels like he's like, you know what, dude, you're hurt. So sit down. Jimmy, you're also hurt, but you're going to play. Am I wrong?
I don't know if you're necessarily wrong. I think it's fair to look at that. Right. I mean,
no, he wasn't going to start against the Colts because Kyle sat him down. Kyle sat him down. Dude, you're hurt. So you're not going to play this week. I don't want a quarterback controversy. We're going to beat the Colts. Jimmy's going to come back in. He's going to play well, and we're going to go back on and roll. Oh, that didn't happen. And so now all of a sudden Trey's back in practice, and he's looking real good. Do I think he's going to start this week against the Bears? No. I think, once again, Kyle's thinking Jimmy's going to play, and he's going to win, and we're going to win, and we're going to be right back on track. Okay, well, you better. You freaking better, man.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later and what our thoughts are on that game. But could you imagine it? Okay, so let's go with that conspiracy theory for just a moment. Let's roll with that and assume that that's true, right? If that is true, that was the best move he could have made, because Sunday night, that crowd was already booing Shanahan out of the stadium going into halftime. Could you imagine if Trey Lance was sitting behind Jimmy G, how bad that would have gotten?
Lance would have won that game.
He at 1,000% he would have won that game.
Lance would have won that game. Lance wouldn't have turned the ball over 3 times. Lance would have been a rushing threat. Dude, Lance is better than Carson Wentz. Come on. I keep asking Kyle Shanahan, and I'm not asking the question the right way. Why do you think Jimmy gives you the best chance to win? Why do you think Trey Lance isn't ready? And he keeps weaseling out of the question like, well, Trey's not healthy right now. So when healthy, is he your best starting quarterback? Because he is. He freaking is. He outgained the Cardinals, the best team in the league. And they win that game if Kyle Shanahan doesn't go for it on 4th down 5 times. They win that game. Come on, man.
I agree with you. I think it's clear cut. And, there was some people that came out and said, well, if Jimmy had played against the Cardinals, they would have won. Hell, they would have. But I guarantee, absolutely, 1,000% they would have. Yep.
Jesse thinks that starting Jimmy Garoppolo against the Bears is the right move. Why?
I do. And listen, I know this sounds like a complete 180, right?
Yeah.
So I'm operating under the assumption that there was an injury. Okay. And if that was the case,
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know for sure, right?
I don't know.
But if that's the case, that means he really has not practiced since that Arizona game, which means we're going on
today was his first
weeks.
practice since then. That's true.
Right. So he has not been practicing.
That is true.
He's still a rookie.
Yep.
He's not in rhythm. And they do need to get a win, right? That's number one. I think that he would probably play fine, but I want to see when Trey comes in, I want to see Trey at his best. And after sitting for a couple weeks, not being in rhythm, I don't think this would be the best Trey Lance that we could get. That being said, it still may be better than the best Jimmy you're going to get. But I want Trey Lance to be 100% healthy, ready, at least a week of practice under his belt before I feel really, really good about throwing him back out there.
Here's why I
So,
disagree with you, Jesse, and I love you.
okay.
I love you dearly. But I disagree with you here. Here's
Okay.
why. And I feel like you're not saying this, but what Kyle's saying is I'm not going to Trey until we're eliminated from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Look, I keep going back to the Ravens. I think it's a pretty Trey and Lamar, they were very young. They're quite similar. With the Raven, and it was similar situations. The Ravens had that championship pedigree. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. The Niners don't have that, but they're close. They didn't wait until they were eliminated from the playoffs before they gave Lamar a chance. They waited until they were one game under 500. They started out 4-2, not 2-4. I've looked into that season extensively. They were 4-2. Then Joe Flacco lost 3 in a row, and they're like, look, Joe, we love you. All right, you've done a lot for the city of Baltimore. You won a championship. We gotta make the switch. I'm sorry. And then they did, and Lamar Jackson won 6-7. Why would you wait until you got eliminated? What more do you need to see? You're on a 3-game losing streak. If you lose this game against the Bears, that's a 4-game losing streak. Not that it's Jimmy's fault, but whatever the formula is.
Well, they're on a 4-game losing streak. They're on a 4-game
right,
losing
exactly.
It's Jimmy.
Right,
exactly. It's Jimmy that's on a 3-game losing streak.
I just feel like it's pretty clear that whatever – I mean, Kyle's like clinging to, well, I'm 27-7 with Jimmy or 27-8. Dude, you're 0-3 with Jimmy in the last 3, and you're like 5-6 in the last 11. Can you please turn the page and move on to the future? Because you might actually have a better chance to win now with Lance than you do with Garoppolo. That's my suspicion. And I keep asking, like, how do you know, man? You didn't have an open competition. You don't let the guy operate your offense. And even in this ridiculous other offense, this alternate universe offense that you used with Trey Lance, you outgained the Cardinals.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I feel you. And again, I'm the biggest Lance supporter there is. I mean, Jack Hammer says I must be getting paid to be his hype man. So I'm all over Trey Lance, but I just have that weird feeling that this is not the week, I would love for it to be, but
that's fine. But look. If this isn't the week and they lose, then next week is the week. You
for
can't
sure.
wait.
Next week's the week anyways.
You can't wait until you get eliminated. That'd be ridiculous. Because what if he comes in and despite being raw, he just is a little bit better than Garoppolo and you start winning games and you figure this out after it's too late? What a shame that would be. This is it to me. If Garoppolo loses this game, it's it. I know Shanahan had that quote, like, we didn't come into the Colts game thinking if he had one bad game and lost, it would be, well, okay, well, now you do. If he loses to the freaking Bears and they're 14.4 points per game, it's over. It's over, man. Don't wait until the season's out of reach.
Yeah, I agree.
At 2-5, it's out of reach. At 2-5, it's out of reach.
For sure it is. Yeah.
Not mathematically, but it is.
I'm saying this. After this game, no matter what, it should go to Lance. But you're right. I mean, chances are if they win this game, they're not moving off of Jimmy, not after a win, right? Like that seems a little odd. If they lose, it's 1,000% Lance. I think it should be Lance no matter what after this game, but Kyle's not thinking like I am.
No. Last topic, we'll take some questions. The doghouse. We've been talking about the doghouse all season, and it pertains to Brandon Ayuk primarily, but really Brandon Ayuk plays a lot. He's on the field. He's not getting the targets. And sometimes it's Kyle's fault. Sometimes it's Jimmy's fault. Sometimes he's actually getting plays called for him and it's just not going to him. Trey Sermon, though. Trey Sermon's not playing offense. Trey Sermon is the deepest player in the doghouse that I've ever seen, or at least on this show, at least on this team. I'll give you an example. In this most recent game, Elijah Mitchell's playing well. JaMychal Hasty comes back from being on an IR for a month, and they give Hasty all those snaps over Sermon. What does Hasty do? Well, he trips trying to catch a ball. He basically is freaking awful. As you would expect, he hasn't played in a month. He's rusty. What does that say about how the Niners feel about Sermon? And what could he possibly have done with his 4.4 yards per carry average to have this level of trust and confidence from the coaching staff?
Dude, what the hell is going on over there? Like, here's the frustrating thing, and I've kind of come to this epiphany in my own mind that early on, I was thinking to myself, wow, this draft class must be really bad because you've got Ambry Thomas getting no burn. You've got Banks getting no burn. And I'm thinking, God, they're not better than the guys in front of them who they're picking up off the street or Brunskill or any of those guys. You've got to be kidding me.
Right.
But then I remember Trey Lance played and he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not playing.
Right.
Sermon played and he's better than Hasty.
Yep.
He's not playing.
Right.
So why is it
why
that
are we
these
just
other
going to
guys aren't playing?
accept that when they say that Banks isn't as good as Brunskill? You haven't even seen it. You haven't even played it out. You don't know.
Right.
We don't trust you.
I don't know what the hell is going on, man. Sermon, this is what I thought. I had a buddy hit me up. He's like, hey, man, I've got Mitchell on my fantasy team. Should I feel confident about him going forward? I said, this is the last week you're playing Mitchell. Going forward, he's going to be splitting with Sermon, and Hasty's going to cut into that. Mitchell's not the guy anymore. Boy, was I wrong. Sermon got no touches, and he got none against Arizona. He was drafted to play with Trey Lance. I believe that because Trey Lance, they can run the read option. They can do all those things. I thought he was drafted to play with Lance. Yet when Lance played, he got like one carry in that game. I don't know what's going on. Sermon deserves better than this. He deserves to play.
I mean, with Ayuk, I guess you can kind of understand it. Like, he looked a little disengaged on the punt return. That looked a little weird. And he's definitely not as fast. He doesn't look as fast and as quick as he did last year. He looks like he got a little too muscled up in the offseason, and it affected his, I don't know, it's just his athleticism. But Sermon, like, what has he done wrong? He's averaging 4.5 yards carry. He looks good. You traded up for the guy,
right?
And you buried him before the season even started based on practice. He looks good in the games, but you buried him based on practice, and you're throwing JaMychal Hasty out there, and his snaps were detrimental to the offense. Not because I like Hasty, but he was not ready to play, not prepared, not ready. Sermon had only done better than that. This is why I don't trust the 49ers when they put Brandon Ayuk in the doghouse. Like, you have Trey Sermon there for no reason right now. So why should we trust you on Ayuk?
Grant, when we did this show last Wednesday, we weren't sure Hasty was going to play. In fact, you're like, well, they haven't fully activated them yet. And I go, yeah, you're probably right. They opened the practice window. He's probably not playing this week.
A little fast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then they activated him.
We like him better than Sermon already.
Every third down he was in. He was in on all the third downs.
They threw him passes down the field. There was a third down. They're like, okay, we're going deep to Hasty. Yeah. And he literally tripped over the 25-yard line. Like,
yeah.
What did you see from him in practice that made you call this play, man? How bad is Trey Sermon in practice that you can't get calling it? Okay, let's take some questions because I just don't understand why a coach buries a 22-year-old like that for no reason. It's not. The main threat says, tweeted you earlier today, Washington football team offense back in 2012 with RG3 Cannon should look like this offense with Trey. Effective and efficient. Easy install.
A lot of easy passes, easy reads, rollouts. Yeah, I agree.
What's the difference between Kyle in 2012 and Kyle in 2021? In 2012, he was 33. I'm 33. He was not a millionaire. Well, he grew up a millionaire, but he was not a multimillionaire at that point. Now, he's a head coach who's had an extension, who's got probably he's probably making like $800,000 a month before taxes. I mean, what's the say? This is not the same level of incentive to, adjust and adapt. Like, it's just not the same.
It's that Mac Jones, 100 mil, baby.
Yeah, Kyle got the 100 mil. So is Jed leaking info to fire Kyle like Jim? I don't know. I couldn't say yes or no. I don't know. I have no idea.
No, but there's a lot of information coming from that team all of a sudden.
We don't know. And I got to say, it's interesting. Jim had that mutual parting where he went to Michigan. Could Kyle and him have a mutual parting? I don't think Kyle wants to go to a college team. Do you think Kyle would have any interest going to? You think Kyle, let's say Kyle gets fired by the Niners. Would he rather go be an offensive coordinator in an NFL team or the head coach of, say, USC?
Oh, that's a good one. I think he would stay in the NFL. I do.
If I was agent, I'd tell him to go to USC, man. I know
I
you
would
want to
too.
be in the NFL, but dude, you're a power hungry dude. Go be the king of USC, man. They'll worship you there.
He would be the perfect college coach because these guys they don't stick around long, right? Like his act wouldn't wear thin on guys that are only there for 2-3 years.
Same thing with Harbaugh. And he would have, like, you want a brand coaching that team. And he's a brand. Him and his dad are brands. The main threat, wish Kyle was just as stubborn with his play calling, always going away from what works and forcing you to stop it, instead overthinks it. His dad was the same way. I always feel like, there's basically 65 plays in a game. And I mean like 35, 40 plays on offense. No, it's about 65 plays on offense. I guess it's 65 plays on offense. So I would say 3/4 of those plays are dictated by score, field position, time, all that stuff. You probably get 15 to 16 plays a game that are your choice, dealer's choice, whatever you want to do with them. And it just seems like he just has like 65 different plays. Here are different plays. Here's what we do. And then we, can't execute a quarter of them well. It's like, well, they didn't execute. Like, nah, man. Like, how did you take advantage of those 16 plays where you could do whatever you wanted? How did you prepare your guys during the week? Like, we get this opportunity. When we're 1st and 10 at their 40-yard line early in the game, we're going to take this shot. And if we get this look, it's going to be a touchdown for this reason. You used to do that, Kyle. Where is that?
Yep.
Where is that?
Yeah. That's a good call out. I remember Kittle talking about that. I came into the game. He said this was going to happen. The guy's going to fall down. I'm going to score a touchdown. Like, dude, that's what
Kyle good coaches do. Good coaches come into games like this. I got a 6-pack of quick sixes. If we're in a position, these are our shot plays. I got 6 shot plays, and they're going to work. And I'm not going to call them in the first quarter because I'm going to set them up, and I'm going to see what they do with the free safety, and then we're going to call them in the second quarter, and we're going to, with 80% certainty, know that we're going to score a touchdown. But we just got to get. I got to call him. We got to get there. And it's like Kyle, I mean, he has things that works, and he's just not going for the kill the way he used to. And he just kind of let's have one good drive at the beginning of the fourth and in the first quarter, and then say that, well, we did some good things today.
That's the best way to describe it. It's like he doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. Foot on the neck mentality. You don't go away from something until they prove, make them prove that they can't stop it.
That's what you say. Like, he had these counter runs that were working. You have to keep calling it until they show they can stop it. The same thing in the Super Bowl, the simple end around. You keep calling that until the Chiefs show they can stop it. That's simple offensive football. And people want to call him a genius because he has cool play designs. But just having a lot of different good plays doesn't make you a good offense. Just having a few good plays that you can come back to and find ways to keep coming back to, dress it up, disguise it, that makes you a good offense.
The Colts came out basically the same way the Chiefs did after the Super Bowl and said that he did them a favor by going away from that stuff. So this is multiple times you've now done this where you've done the other team a favor. They legit couldn't figure it out, and you just figured it out for them and stopped doing it.
Yeah. I'm going to ask McDaniel about that tomorrow. AmTodd99 says Bananahan gave Fields more praise than Trey got all year. Bananahan's was the kid that didn't play with his toys on Christmas morning, even though he begged to get them. Ooh, I don't know kids like that. I didn't know. I play with my toys. I was excited. I was the kind of kid that woke up at 3 a.m. and ran down. I was like, oh, Santa came. Santa came. Santa came. Santa came. Oh, I think I got a bike. I think I got a bike. I think I got a, that kind of kid.
Yeah, I was the same exact way.
Yeah. Bananahan really didn't want to respond to your second question. LOL. Come on, Bananahan. Grant's asking what we want to know. Great work, Grant. Yeah, he keeps making it look like, hey, stop pushing Trey. He's really hurt. He looked really good in practice today, man.
He looked amazing in practice today. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Keep going. Is my internet just crap out, man? What the hell is going on?
I don't know. Maybe. Is it me? You look really blurry.
No, it's me. Yeah, it's me. Hold on. Kyle is more like Kramer going to court and listening to his caddy instead of Jackie Childs. Hire a competent player personnel guy to run the draft. Hey, I got to go grab my phone in the other room so I can do the hotspot. Just hold it down for a second. I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're fine, man. I'll go through some of the comments. Let's see. Shana plan in full effect. Grant Cohn, can we talk about Jalen Moore? I'll talk about Jalen Moore. I don't think it's on the docket tonight either. Jalen Moore played really good. Let me ask you this, James. There you go. James, you tell me, do you think Jalen Moore should be the starting right tackle? Because I would love for him to be the starting right tackle. It is tough for tackles to go, swing tackle, go from left to right, especially a mid-season type of thing. But for the future, if you can get off McGlinchey, I'm doing it. And I'm moving Jalen Moore to the right side if I can.
He already looks better than him, right?
I agree, yeah.
The decision to put Jimmy in the Colts game instead of Lance, even though both are hurt, is because it was one of the last opportunities for Jimmy to be amazing before the trade deadline fail. It's true, man. I think it's possible the Niners' master plan was like, look, instead of trading Jimmy for a second on draft day, let's, win a bunch of games with Jimmy before the deadline and then trade him at the deadline and then get that. There's no reason to trade him now. There's a deadline. Let's wait till the deadline, build that value, then trade him. Because there's no way he'll lose 3 in a row. There's no way he'll lose to the Colts. Abu Marco 23, probably right.
That's actually, you know what? That makes a lot of sense because it gives you time to work with your rookie, figure it out. You're thinking most likely they come out of the bye week. They're going to win that. Then Chicago. I mean, Chicago's bad. We're beating them. Yep.
Hey, look, though. This is the last week before the trade deadline, so they could be thinking the same thing. Let's just get them one win. One win, then we'll trade them for whatever we can get. If it's a fifth, fine.
I don't see him getting traded, but, we'll see.
Please save my faith in the Niners. LOL. That's not what we do.
That's not us. We are not those guys. So listen, if you have any ounce of faith, listen, I appreciate the contribution. I'm sure Grant does too, but keep watching so that he gets the tick, but turn it down, man. I'm just letting you know right now.
Kyle, like his dad, like most egomaniacs, if they fear the unexpected and what they can't control, Kyle fears what may or may not happen with Trey.
It's a situation he doesn't control because once Trey plays, he has to keep playing, right? I mean, they had the one scenario where an injury happened, and so you could insert him and take him back out. Once he plays again, he's the guy. So, yeah, there is no control for Kyle.
Guys,
you're right.
They could have gotten a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo in April. They know this. They feel dumb, most likely.
Yep.
That's what's happening right now. They could have – we know that they could – whether or not it was offered, it was official. They could have gotten a second. They held out for a first, and they're going to get like an 18th for him. That's where they're at, and they're not really excited to take that L. Who would be? But that's where they're at. That's what's happening, and they're thinking, you know what? He's just going to beat the Bears, and we're going to put it on the Bears, win 48-7, and that'll change everything. Hey, man, good luck.
You said it best. You've said it so many times about Shanahan that he's the guy that doubles down. He's doubled down about 6 times on Garoppolo this season. Yeah. Okay, this is the week. Double down. Every week he's crapped out. Every single time he's crapped out.
Really in the red right now.
Yeah.
At the casino. That's right.
Yeah, listen, he's already gotten roughed up in the bathroom by a couple bookies, right?
Got no pants on.
Nothing. And he's coming out with a suit top, black eyes, and he's throwing everything down on red and going, please, like, God, for God's sakes. Yeah, that's what's
Eric
happening.
says, does Kyle have a good enough game plan during games to win with either quarterback? Who is the real problem? He just seems like a guy who's doesn't have his heart in it. He just seems like a guy who doesn't have his heart in it. Considering I've seen Kyle with his heart in it. And this doesn't look like that.
Yeah, listen, Kyle's to blame, 100%.
Yeah. Kyle, Grant, if we lose to the Bears and Jim starts the next game and loses again, please ask the only question left. Kyle, are you trying to get fired? That's a fair question. And I don't think he'll let it come to that. But I think that's probably a fair question. I will. Defending Jimmy G by talking about the team's record with him playing is getting old. Half of those wins happened in 2019. It's an overrated stat.
Yeah, I don't know many people that are defending him anymore. In fact, I'm
Yeah,
seeing people that were defending him having the arguments against the few that are left. It's the funniest thing in the
that's a
world.
small club at this point. Ray
Yeah.
Vasquez says that 2019 season, such a blessing and a curse. That year showed our max potential, but we've been chasing those vibes for 2 years now. Like, forget that season already. That's the problem with that season to me. Let's say this. Let's say the Niners lost in the NFC Championship game to the Packers. You go into that offseason saying, good season. We learned a lot of valuable lessons, but we got to get better. We got to get better. But that's not what happened. They went to the Super Bowl and they were winning with 7 minutes left. And then they gave up that 3rd and 15 and told themselves that Nick Bosa got hurt. And they went into the offseason saying, man, we should have won. We should have won. We were the best team. We got screwed. Let's run it back. Let's prove that we were the best team. Nah, you lost. Because what Jim Harbaugh said is you're either getting better or you're getting worse. You never stay the same. And what they tried to do was stay the same. Now, that involved trading DeForest Buckner for Javon Kinlaw and his arthritic knee. So I guess they didn't stay the same. But if they had just lost to the Packers, they would have approached the offseason with an we need to get better mindset, but they didn't. They approached it with a let's run it back mindset. Run what back? Losing? Being the number one loser? You were the number one loser in the NFL. Let's throw you a freaking parade. No, you don't run that back. The Chiefs run it back. Yep. And then they lost. You don't run that. That was the problem. They would have been
I agree.
Championship game.
So I did my show last night, and we were talking about Kyle not being a servant leader, and it hit me square in the mouth. You want to know what the biggest difference is between 2019 and this year?
What?
It's the lack of leadership on the team.
The
team is just Buckner, as talented.
Sherman. Yep.
That's Sherman. What it is. Yeah. There's because Kyle is who he is, and you needed that buffer of leadership from the team that you no longer have. That is the biggest difference.
I'm with you. Aaron says, is Kyle really arrogant enough to be saving this draft class to play next year? Or he just working on getting Lynch fired? I say fire them both. I think it's one or the other. One of the two. I don't know. It's one of the two, though. I'm with you, Aaron. You could say it's the first one because he has a 6-year extension and he's so secure in his position. You could say the second one because maybe he got overruled on Lance and the 2nd and 3rd round picks as well. Or it could be both. It could be both, or it could be neither.
Yeah, and I've said this in the past that whether he's doing it intentionally or not, he sure is setting up Lynch to be the scapegoat by not playing these guys.
True. Grant, how candid can your questions be? Also, I wish you can Wes Welker what he thinks about Brandon Ayuk. They can be candid. They just have to be professional. And we only get Welker once a year, so unfortunately, we only get him in the off season when everyone's doing great and everyone's
right.
Easy Tino says, Tin Hat, Kyle's waiting on Rodgers next year. Jimmy playing is more about business than football. Salary, $27 million, team captain, and money from Jimmy G merch. No, it's what Wickersham said. They turned down a sweet deal. His value's gone down. They feel dumb. I think that's most likely what happened. They didn't turn down. It wasn't a deal. But they held out for too much. They drove way too hard of a bargain. It's like they had a garage sale. And put some junk out and it's like this is $800. And people were like, we'll give you 18. And they were like, how about 30? No, 18. And they didn't take 18, and now it's worth 2.
Yeah. Now it's the free ad on Craigslist.
So that's what happened. Grant, I like the head coach from Clemson, dude, Coach Watson and Lawrence.
No,
his name is Dabo, though. I can't trust someone named Dabo.
No.
Although Dabo,
I don't like Dabo. I don't like Dabo at all.
I don't follow college football like that, but I don't know. Puzzles me why Kyle Shanahan limits easy gimme plays to Jimmy.
I mean,
I know
you literally coined the phrase "Jimmy Gimmies."
Yeah, I guess that's it's in the Jimmy Garoppolo section of the playbook, and it's only for him.
Yeah.
Rodman says, I don't think Trey is fully healthy. That's why Kyle's hesitating this week. How can you guarantee us Kyle can develop Lance? QB's regressed under him. The second part, I agree with. The first part, he looked so freaking – he looked extra healthy today. He looked healthy with a side of healthy today.
How can we guarantee you? I think that's not our job to guarantee you. That's the unfortunate part is I don't think we're sold that he's the right guy either.
Kyle Denver Elway collision course.
Oh, I would love it. Send him right over.
Yeah, let him work with Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's what he wants. Can't play traits, still injured, broken head coach, sprained. Jokes aside, Mia has our backs. Could we give them pieces to get one back? I don't even know what you're talking about, Jordan, but you made me laugh. So thank you.
That was good.
I liked it. Just a couple more. At least Kyle was upset over the loss and took responsibility. Jittery was smiling and carefree as usual after the loss. I can't stand that about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's never. There's so many quarterbacks like Derek Carr, for example, and it's maybe like it's like dramatic, but after losses, he'll be like, "Look, that's on me. I messed up. If you're asking about a play, that was my fault." And it's like, okay, we know what you're doing, Derek. But Jimmy won't even do that. He'll be like, "Oh, we need to be better." No, dude, you turned the ball over 3 times. Say something about you. It's always we. Nah, dude, it's you, man.
Yeah,
Say something.
By the way, when Lance lost, he took more accountability than Jimmy ever has.
I need to be better. I totally appreciated it. He gets
To be fair, Kyle, the only reason he took responsibility is because they served it up on a silver platter. They're like, you do understand why people
what
want
these questions are about. He's like, absolutely.
Yeah. There's no way he would have been dumb enough to not take that one. Like, it was right there for the taking. Yes.
Fans are ready to revolt if Kyle runs Jimmy out there and we lose the same way again, a la post-Giving Day loss to Seattle. He thinks, look, they're much better on the road than they are at home.
Yeah, there's that.
Master plan, package up Jimmy and Lance for Cousins. Oh my God.
That wasn't Maruna that said that? Is that his other account?
Might be. Anoop says Kyle is an off-tilt poker player, in-game personnel off, clock management off, play calling outside the script off, who's my quarterback off, Trey saves, off-tilt poker player. He's just down on chips. Yeah, he's just trying to. I'm with you on that. Fabian, me and my late father are huge fans of you, Grant. Thank you. Love to keep watching you with him in spirit. Keep up the good work. I really appreciate that. That's really nice.
I feel that, Fabian. I lost my my dad a few years back, so I feel where you're coming from him.
Do you guys think coaching the NFL is too much for Banana Hands? Could he go to college and in a few years come back just like Pete Carroll? Well, USC's open, and it's quite a glamorous job, and he'd probably do pretty well in the Pac-12. I don't know.
He would do really well. Again, here's my thing. 49er fans are terrified of him landing on his feet. Chances are if he gets another head coaching job, he's going to land on his feet because that new team is not going to give him the same power he has here, which is as much or more than Belichick at this point. You take away that power from him and allow him to just focus on coaching, he'll probably be better because of it.
It's possible someone told Ayuk to be more like Debo, which ended up slowing him down. And he's still not as physical as Debo. Real problem with Ayuk is Jimmy. He does look a little slower and a little bit too big. He probably needs – when I go back and watch clips of Ayuk from his rookie year, he looks slimmer. Yeah,
absolutely.
But I do think a big thing is Jimmy's unwillingness to throw him the ball. Mullins loved throwing to Ayuk. I mean, just couldn't do it enough. And that's one of the things I liked about Mullins is he let playmakers be playmakers. Jimmy is over here trying to decide who's going to be who he trusts that day.
It was nice to see him actually use him on an end around this week, though.
Yep. What do you think the problem is with all the PIs, inferior people in coverage?
I've never seen anything like this. This is wild.
It's when you play aggressive man coverage with inferior cornerbacks, this is what you get. This is why you need to invest in corners. It's important. You can't just take dudes off the street and be like, all right, clamp this dude. All right, yeah, I'm going to hold him. Yep, exactly. Beast Rider said players listed injured was fine.
That the player, are you talking about the injury report? Like the players that are on the injury report, like most of them are fine? I don't know.
Kyle won't play Lance against the Bears because he knows if Fields outplays Lance, he'll be gone.
Fields ain't outplaying Lance. I'm letting you know that right now.
Starting Brian Hoyer was the first red flag. With those winless games, and then when Jimmy came in, looked so much better that he got that big contract. Yeah, man, Brian Hoyer got Jimmy G paid. He should hit him up every Christmas. Like, thank you, Brian.
Yeah, you know how quarterbacks usually buy their linemen
thank you
gifts.
For being
he should
so
do that
trash.
For Hoyer. Yeah.
First question: Mia equals Miami has our picks. I thought you meant like Kiara Mia or something. My bad. Okay,
yeah, that's what I thought.
Let's go through some injuries because there's a ton of them. And I'll give a. Let's just go like free association here. What pops in your mind when you hear that the 49ers sent Javon Kinlaw to Los Angeles to get a second opinion on his knee and he may have season-ending surgery? What I think, I'll go first, is I can't get over how many picks the Niners have spent in rounds 1, 2, and 3 on players they knew were injured. I mean, they knew this dude had a knee injury, and they drafted him in round 1. They knew Jalen Hurd was injured. They drafted him in round 3. They knew Reuben Foster was injured, and he got sent away from the combine because he screamed at some intern. They took him in round 1. Most teams take these kind of guys in round 6, and you're like, fine. Round 1, Kinlaw serves you right, 40. It's not Kinlaw's fault. He didn't hide anything. He didn't lie in his resume. It was right freaking there. I can't believe the 49ers drafted this guy in round 1. It's unfathomable to me.
Listen, two things that come to mind immediately. One, it's super poetic that this happened during Buckner week, that this all came out after a bye week. By the way, he's not able to play. That's very poetic to me in a terrible way. And do you believe me now? Do you believe me now when I said Javon Kinlaw has arthritis? I've been saying it for, I don't know, since August. So that's my thought.
Yeah, I don't expect this to get better. This is just honestly a worse pick than Solomon Thomas. This guy's
who, by the way, is playing really well.
Player has a messed up knee. Don't expect it to get better.
No, definitely not. And they're going to go in and clean it up some more, which means they cleaned it up last year. They're cleaning up again
in 2021.
Right.
The numerous cleanup procedures he had, they just worked so well.
Yeah. Yeah. Tearing away cartilage is a great thing to keep you from going bone on bone and having arthritis. Yeah, that'll work.
The next knee injury, Jaquiski Tartt injured it against the Colts, did not practice on Wednesday. This guy misses typically 8-9 games a year. This year he lasted 6 games. So what's your first reaction with Tartt going out? I mean, obviously my reaction is not surprised. I mean, this is why they drafted a safety. They should have been prepared for this. And all of a sudden, Talanoa Hufanga becomes a very important player on this team.
My reaction is, listen, I don't want anybody to get injured, but I'm really excited to see Hufanga play. Like, that's my reaction from it is, hey, at least this is one young player that we're going to see, whether it's by choice or not, get some playing time and be able to develop. I'm really excited about that. What's crazy to me is Tartt, like Jimmy and some of these other guys, these guys continue to play, and then it's afterwards that they are hurt. It's like, I don't know if their adrenaline's going or whatever, but he hyperextended it pretty good. You saw it on one of the plays where he bumped knees and hyperextended it. But it's just weird to me that he was able to continue to play, and now he's probably not going to play for a while. So
not surprising that Jaquiski Tartt got hurt. Sorry, Jaquiski, but
no.
We have to stop being sentimental about players who get injured a lot, because it's okay to have a couple players like that on your team. The Cardinals, they have J.J. Watt. They have A.J. Green, a few. But the 49ers have built their entire core on these kind of players. And you got to stop with these, what is the sentimentality? Stop. This is football. You need to prioritize durability and stop saying, well, we're praying. We believe in Jason Verrett. Stop believing in people. It's not a belief type of thing. You need evidence. You need proof that people can play football and stay healthy. Kendrick Bourne can do that. DeForest Buckner can do that. You didn't invest in those people. You invested in Tartt, Verrett, Mosley, guys who haven't shown they can freaking do it. So, Kinlaw.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like when a player gets injured, we as fans should be
it's so
sentimental. This sucks. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But you don't pay guys because you feel bad for them?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
No, that's not the way.
Speaking of people who get hurt, Trent Williams, he didn't practice today. I thought he would. He injured his ankle against the Cardinals week 5. Okay. Then there was a bye week. Then he came back and practiced Monday and zinged it, according to Kyle Shanahan. Hasn't practiced since. It's been going on 3 weeks, and he's still not back. They spend a lot of money on this guy. And the way I always thought it was on offensive linemen, I mean, they can play with broken hands. They can play. They have to play through a lot of stuff. And especially when you're the highest paid offensive lineman of all time, you can't afford to miss multiple games. So this must be one hell of an ankle injury. I'm not saying it's not, but my gut reaction is this is exactly why I was against the 49ers extending this guy. This happens every year with Trent Williams.
Yeah, we said it. He doesn't play more than 14 games in a season. He's always missing time, right? Yeah. Let's take the tumor year out of it, because that's completely out of his control, right? That's so different. But even if you remove that, he doesn't have seasons where he plays all year long. It's why we both like the whole let's go with Lindsley and a serviceable left tackle. That's the route they should go, which, by the way, looks really good right now because Trent Williams is injured and Mack is atrocious. That guy is horrible.
He's awful.
So, yeah, that's where we're at with it. Didn't you ask Trent Williams last week about his ankle and elbow? And he says, I'm fine.
That's all good. Yeah, it's no problem. Yep.
It's not all good. It's not. So, he's probably not going to play this week. And, maybe he comes back against the Cardinals. But
they could have had
Rashawn what happens.
Slater at 12 had they not traded up. Rashawn Slater's looking like a stud. Now, they got their quarterback. But if they wanted to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo 2 more years, they could have got Rashawn Slater. I'm just saying.
They could have just had a Wirfs last year instead of Kinlaw. Yeah.
All right, Trent Williams' ankle, not good news. Azeez Al-Shaair's concussion. This is always scary when a player gets a concussion. It's not his fault. But my reaction with Azeez Al-Shaair is a lot of people have been very encouraged about his play. He really is playing well this year.
Really good.
But I like Dre Greenlaw too. And some people are trying to make the argument that Azeez Al-Shaair is better than Dre Greenlaw. I like them both. And what they seem to have in common is they get hurt. And again, I'm trying to take the sentimentality out of this. Azeez Al-Shaair, great story. Undrafted free agent. You've been hurt a lot of times, overcome those injuries. You're hurt again. Dre Greenlaw, 5th round pick. Great story. These are not guys the Niners should invest second contracts in. Use them while they're here. He's an undrafted guy. Great. You know what? When he's available to play, he'll give you something. He's actually quite a bargain for what you're paying him. Do not extend Azeez Al-Shaair. Do not extend Dre Greenlaw. You have to take these injuries seriously and start building a core of players who are durable, for the love of God.
Greenlaw's supposed to be back this week, though, is he not? Supposedly. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So
sorry,
that
I get like, well, we'll see.
Kind of yeah.
Yes. Theoretically.
Okay. So I guess that's the good thing, right? One's in, the other one's out, whatever. You're right, though. Azeez Al-Shaair is really kind of stolen the hearts of 49er fans. He's playing really good football. Yep.
But, dude, I mean, if you can't stay healthy, he's gotten hurt a ton of times, and they're all different things. I can't give you a lot of money. It's not my money. But the 49ers should not give another contract to these dudes who get hurt all the time. And you know what? They're players. Like, it's easy for me to say that about Azeez Al-Shaair because I don't really care about it. I mean, it's not. But I'm a big Raheem Mostert guy. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
It was a mistake to give him the money.
Yep.
It was a mistake. And I love Raheem Mostert. He's a great running back when healthy. Thing is, he's never healthy, which makes him a huge freaking bust. I'm sorry. But that's the way it is. And the Niners have to be that brutal with all their players who get hurt. I love Raheem Mostert. Love him. It was a mistake to give him the money. He can't stay healthy. He's never proven that he can stay healthy. And 2 carries this year? Nah, big bust. Maybe the biggest bust on the team, because when he's healthy, their offense clicks so easy. When it's
a whole different
not healthy,
level.
Which brings me to my next player, Deebo Samuel's calf. Everything been going so well for Deebo Samuel. Last year was a disaster, but this year he made it through offseason, killed it in offseason. He was great in training camp. He was great in preseason. He had no setbacks. Now he has a calf injury, and Kyle says he's confident, well, hopeful that Deebo will play this weekend, but he didn't practice on Wednesday. It's a soft tissue injury. It's the kind of thing that could get worse. I mean, George Kittle had a calf injury week 1, got worse week 3, went to IR. You got to be careful. Real quick is obviously this is horrible for the 49ers. He's the whole offense short term, but long term, hey man, I would not give Deebo Samuel a second contract. I'm sorry. He's a really good player, but this another injury, plus the fact that he leads the league in freaking drops and has had 2 fumbles. I'm sorry. I wouldn't do it. I think he's worth more to me in a trade, the Niners, than he is if you give him $16 million a year, because that's what he's probably going to get.
I'm with you 100% on this, and I hate to say it, I'm literally looking at a Deebo Samuel signed picture right across the room from me.
I love watching him play. He's a lot of fun.
Yep.
I do like watching him play.
Yep, he's my favorite player on the team. Yep. Deebo Samuel is my favorite player on the team.
MVP.
I am not paying Deebo Samuel that second contract. No way, no how, because he plays the same brand of football that Kittle does. And we see how that's playing out. He's never going to be fully healthy because he likes to be physical. That's his brand. His name is Deebo, for gosh sakes. That's what he calls himself. He's not willing to stop being that guy.
Separated shoulders and broken bones because of the physicality. This is like, oh, it's a calf. It was a hamstring. Like, I don't know, man. That stuff just really scares me. And he's got a history of soft tissue injuries. I don't even think that has anything to do with physicality. I think that has to do with professionalism and body type.
Yeah, for sure. And, here's the way that I see it. I'm shelving him this week, and I'm relying on Ayuk to do all the things that Deebo did and the same thing that happened with last year. That's what I'm doing with Deebo this week. I'm not letting this injury linger. I'm nipping it in the bud this week and sitting him for a week before it turns into a Kittle situation.
Last injury, and then we have a couple of predictions. We got to get to the Bears game. George Kittle's calf. He's still on IR. They're hoping they can open up his practice window next week. My reaction is they're going through the toughest section of the season, and he's not there, just like last year. And if he does come back, it'll be too late. They got to trade this guy. And, of course, you can't trade him while he's hurt. You don't want to sell low. But if he comes back and plays his little heart out like he did last year in the meaningless games, great. Trade him in the offseason.
I agree with you. The problem is I don't know his cap situation. I feel like they have to keep him until the next year, because I think what I've heard is that cap situation is really, really bad. If they trade him this offseason, they have to wait till the following. So the moment that they get a chance, they have to get rid of Kittle. I agree with you. Kittle's he's like Gronkowski. I don't think that he's going to be a good player in this league past the age of probably 30, 31.
Dude, I don't know. I just think it's I think it's clear that his best football is behind him. The Niners, his best money's in front of him. He's going to get $16 million next year. And the Niners are essentially going to be paying that for what he did in the past. You got to move him before that contract looks as bad as it's going to look, because it's going to look really bad. It's going to look really bad.
There's teams that are going to take him. Were you trying to look up his contract? Is that where you're?
No, I was adding a couple extra.
Okay, no, you're good. You're good. All right.
Bold prediction if the 49ers lose this game, because they could. Let's just be. Trent Williams might not play. Raheem Mostert definitely not going to play. George Kittle definitely not going to play. Deebo Samuel might not play. This team also is committing like 3-4. They lead the league in turnovers. They lead the league in penalties. This is a team that could lose to anyone. Almost lost to the Lions and the Eagles. Bold prediction if the Niners lose this game.
If the 49ers lose this game, I'm calling it right now. Somebody's getting fired. Somebody gets fired. And I'm not saying it's Shanahan or even Lynch, but somebody on that staff is going to get fired. This has that type of game written all over it. Somebody's got to be a scapegoat. Preferably you want that at the end of the season. But this happens all the time in the NFL. You have situations where guys get fired, that whether they deserve it or not, maybe the offense isn't doing well, and they're like, listen, Daniel, you're out. Even though we know he's not calling the plays. That's the type of stuff that happens when things are crumbling around an organization. Somebody's getting fired if they lose to the Bears. That's my bold prediction.
I like it. I think, not to disagree with you, but I like that. But I think the game that they're most likely for someone to get fired, is after the Rams game in 3 weeks, because that's prime time again. And the
Mhm.
way a lot of these things happen is, if you lose to the Bears, like how many people even watched that game? It wasn't, what super nationally televised, but when you lose to the Colts on national TV, Bill Simmons talking about you on his podcast, Colin Cowherd's roasting you on his show. Like it's everyone's talking point the next day. And the way I remember it is like Matt Patricia in Detroit, right? He was sucking so hard for years. He was chilling over in Detroit with like a 370 winning percentage, and no one really cared because it's Detroit.
Yep.
And then last year on Thanksgiving, when everyone's forced to watch the Lions, the one day of the year everyone's forced to watch the Lions, they just get freaking annihilated by some bad team. I don't know who it was. And everyone's like, this is unacceptable. And I think he was fired the next day. Like, losing big on national television is powerful. And Kyle losing like that to the Colts, I don't think anyone in the organization expected it. And I think it rocked the fan base's confidence in him. If he does it again against the Rams, all bets are off. So I'm with you. I'm just going to delay it 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. My bold prediction is they lose to the Bears and then they go to Lance. And they'll say, oh my God, he's injured. He's healthy. And Jimmy's hurt. Jimmy's hurt. He's actually playing. We love Jimmy, but his calf just kind of, it had a setback.
Yeah.
His calf it kind of acted up. It tightened up. It kind of bunched up on him. And Trey feels a lot better. So we're going to go. They're never going to make a call on the quarterback. It's never going to say like, we've lost confidence in Jimmy. They're just going to say, well, actually, Jimmy's the one who's hurt now. Yep. So if Jimmy loses, he's going to actually come out of the game with like the calf is going to act up, or he's going to have a bad back, or he's going to have indigestion. And Trey Lance is going to start the next week. That's my prediction.
And it's really crazy hard to get Tums nowadays. So we're not going to be able to figure out that indigestion. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Pepto.
Is Pepto even a thing? And still, is that like?
Yeah, I had Pepto last weekend. I was so freaked out on this family stuff I've been going through that I gave myself flu-like symptoms.
Oh no!
I was walking around in San Francisco with Pepto in my hand like a crazy person.
Just.
Hey man, having a tough week. How you doing? We had a good time though. Good. That's a true story. That really happened last weekend.
No, I believe it. It's just so many things come to mind.
How much can I have every half hour? Oh, okay.
Your brown bag and Pepto on the streets.
No doubt.
I love it.
That really happened. Okay, keys to the game and predictions.
Keys to the game is Kyle Shanahan keeping it together for a full 60 minutes. Can we see it one time? Can you call a full good game, please? This is the week.
The Niners haven't played a full game yet this season.
No. It's
No.
all on Kyle Shanahan. I don't care if you run to the outside, if you establish the run, if you're running boot. I don't care how you do it. Figure it out. Stick with it. Call a good game for a full game. Please just give me that. As long as you can do that, listen, the Bears are a terrible team. Good teams beat bad teams. The problem is 49ers are not a good team. They're not good.
Bad. They're the worst team in the league, the Bears. They should have fired Matt Nagy already.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I agree. And by the way, addition by subtraction, he may not be available this game because of COVID stuff. So that might actually help the Bears out, which is crazy.
The Bears play better without him. I called it when Cliff Kingsbury had to miss that game because I was like, oh, watch the Cardinals go off this week. And they did.
Yep, they sure did.
Okay, so the keys to the game for me is to get the quality control involved. And I'm serious. What quality control should be doing during a game is charting everything. So if you call a certain concept, give me this, like, what did we do? What were the yards per play when I called counter off a split belly concept? What are my yards per carry going to the right? What are my yards per carry going to the left? What are my yards per carry going off right tackle, left tackle? Like, if you find something that freaking works, don't go away from it. Because they did that against the Colts. Play action bootlegs couldn't freaking miss. Couldn't fucking miss. And you went away from it. The counter off a split belly zone couldn't fucking miss. And you went away from it. I don't get that. Like, the split belly zone is you block inside zone on one side, you bring the tight end across and you block that block D end. What they did off that was brilliant was they bluffed the block. They slipped it and they went around, and the running back took one false step this way and went over. It worked. and you went away from it. Like, can you not do that? Can you just call up quality control, be like, what's working today? And they'll be like, yeah, the counter off the split belly. Be like, thanks. It's that simple, man. What the hell is that? Just call someone. Call me. I will tell you. I just cursed 3 times. I was so worked up, but because it's quality control. It's what I do.
Listen, Hyphy Grant is in the building.
Sorry.
100%. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You're allowed to
You're
curse
right,
on me.
though.
I'm sorry.
We both agree, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's on Shanahan. But here's the problem. They have an offensive coordinator that I don't know what he does, Grant. You've either got to do one or two
I'm going to
things.
ask him tomorrow. These are the questions.
What do you do?
I'm going down to Santa Clara tomorrow to be like, Mike, you had this beautiful play. I'm going to call it a counter off the split belly inside zone. I don't know what you call it, but it looked like a counter. It worked beautifully. You did it with Dwelly to the left. You did it with Warren to the right. You gained X amount of yards the first time. You gained X amount of the yards the second time. In retrospect, don't you feel it's your duty to the franchise to keep calling that play until the defense shows they can stop it?
I love it. I love that. Also, can you go full office space?
What's that?
Can you go full office space on McDaniel and say, what is it that you say you do here?
You don't call plays.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So you don't do quality control.
You don't fill out your TPS reports.
Yeah. Yeah. Please. Yeah. Seriously. But he's got to give something to McDaniel. He's got to either say you're calling plays now, or you're the quality control guy. One of those two things has to happen.
Predict a winner.
God. 49ers are going to win 20-17. Neither team can score. They're both awful. 2017 Niners. Just because you and Vish are there, they can't lose with you and Vish there. Nope.
You think they'll score 20 points without Debo? I don't know if Debo's going to play. I don't know. But if Debo doesn't play, it's going to be like 16-13 or something crazy, and they're going to win.
I'll tell you why they score 20, because Fields, much like Jimmy, is good for 2-3 turnovers a game. He does not look very good right now. So
let's knock off these questions and then go to bed. Not knock them off, but address them. The Curse of Gore says his line about the injury report against the NFL rules. Hell yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Punishment. Beast Rider saw a player on injury report dancing. Oh, well, okay. Are we sure Kinlaw would have been a first rounder? I don't know. Maybe he had a medical issue. It's hard to say. He was dropping. Hey, Grant, been watching the channel for the last year, and I've really enjoyed the content and analysis. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that.
That was nice.
That was very nice. Kyle truly believes he's doing the right by Lance. I'm not sure whether to laugh or cry. I don't know what Kyle believes. We don't really understand where he's coming from.
Kyle's doing right by Kyle. That's what's happening.
Kyle, bring back his old players, Shanahan.
And coaches.
Hey, call up Rex. Where's Rex Grossman at? Fire Lynch. Ultimatum, a la Al Davis to Kyle. Take over OC or sit out contract. Hire a GM who is leader. Hire quarterback as quarterback coach. Yeah.
I love all of that, Mike. Yep.
I like it. Trent Williams said before signing his mega deal that quarterback was a major factor where he wanted to go. Is he not rushing back because of quarterback controversy? I don't know. But why would he make it? He was like, oh, should I go play with Patrick Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo? Patrick Mahomes or Jimmy Garoppolo? Man, it's so tough. Jimmy's so good. I don't know. I'm going to go play with Jimmy. He just went to the team that gave him the most money. Can we just be honest about that?
Yeah, of course he did. Yes, of course he did.
Kyle loves injured players. Hey, man, Parag loves injured players.
They all love injured players.
Kyle came out looking hot like Hoodie Shanny, then banana handed. Trey area may be doomed regardless.
Actually,
people are like, oh, he's back.
Exactly. That blunder was hilarious. Let's go red hat with the little black. He's been talking all year. Should I wear a hat? Should I not? And then he comes out red hat. It was like Tiger Woods on a Sunday, and he just totally flubbed it. It
Pretty
was
funny.
hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is the button panic for the 49ers already pressed?
Should have been.
I think so. When you lose to the Colts on national television, it's not good. I think so. Thank you, gents, for being the voice of reason. If you could say one thing to Denise besides fire, what would you say? BTW, go us. Sell the team, please. You don't care. You live in Youngstown.
Yep.
You live in Youngstown. You don't want to own this team. You gave it to a 27-year-old son that wasn't prepared or qualified. Dude, it's worth $3 billion. Cash in. Just cash in. Sell it like the Warriors sold to Joe Lacob 10 years ago. Come on. You know you don't want this team. You live in Youngstown. Denise.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, that's what I would say as well.
Kyle doing right by Kyle and can't even do that right. Oh, that's the way to go out. That is the way to go out. That is the way to go out. Except the goose comes in and says the only way Kyle gets fired is if there is no sign of progress in Lance this season or next. Well, I'm waiting.
I don't know if Kyle gets fired this year, but he should be on the. I'd fire him right now.
We got 11 weeks to see something with Lance. Kyle, let's see. Let's see what you had planned, because you're starting to talk about how he's the future and this and that. Let's see it, man, because the future is now. Jesse,
absolutely.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. Everyone, subscribe to Jesse's YouTube channel if you haven't already. Last Second Sports. That's right.
We're on the come up. We're coming back from being torn down. So yes, go subscribe, please.
Please. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what Mike McDaniel says when I grill him.
I love it. What would you say you do here?
What would you say you do here? See everyone. Good night.